Hi, everyone. My name is Jacquie King, and I'm really excited to announce the Hold On to Your Heart Project podcast. Today will be our first episode, and I have a good friend here, Jen, who's going to ask questions that she's come up with and the community has come up with, um, and get honest about parts of my story and my truth. Yeah, I'm very excited to share with you. Enjoy.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go. Are
Here we
you
freaking
ready?
go. I think so. I hope so.
Okay, you are, because you're just you. Okay, so let's just start with what is your inner critic saying, like right now, about this whole thing?
This is way too big of a project to be taking on, that no one cares what you have to say or your ideas or your visions. It's stupid.
It's stupid.
It's stupid. You know, that I'm going to get torn apart, probably.
Oh, it's good that you go right to the violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is it saying?
Who would tear you apart?
I do. I have this sense of like getting in trouble and like even thinking through the project and the podcast. Like what always comes to me is like, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for that. I'm gonna get, like this fear
Oh,
of
yeah.
getting in trouble is really
I relate.
right there.
Yeah. The cops are coming.
Yeah, I don't know who's coming, but
You're
someone's
going to
coming.
jail.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be, I'm in trouble for something. I just don't know exactly what, or I'm not doing it right, or I should have done it this way, or, you know, yeah, a sense of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good way to start. So the name of the podcast, Hold On to Your Heart, is beautiful. What parts of holding on to your heart inspired you to create it?
What parts of holding on to my heart?
Your heart.
This is quite hard.
Seemed like a good idea when it was about interviewing other people.
Other people, yeah. You create this thing, and it's like all of a sudden, I have to step inside of it, and it is actually quite scary. I'm quite scared right now. I think right now is holding onto my heart, in a way, and just kind of walking, moving through all the things that I'm telling myself, or I've told myself, or I believe about myself. You know,
Like,
well, just to sit here right now to want something that I'm not sure that I'm worthy of having, right? So yeah, I have to hold on tight, I think, right now, and just really, despite what everything I think or feel, like it's just really just holding on to that piece of me that can trust it and to know it. And what was the question again?
well, let's just say it this way. When have you had to hold on to your heart in your life?
I feel like my life has been landscaped with times I've needed to ask for help and wanting help and not knowing how to get help and not knowing who to ask for help. And those would be the times that I held on to my heart. And I think
Tell me like a story that comes to mind of when you needed help and you didn't know how to get it.
oh, there's so many. I don't really know where exactly which one I would start with. Like I think of, this is really quite hard right now. One time, I mean, I needed help last weekend, I needed help as recently as that. I needed help, 5-year-old Jackie needed help in really big ways, like with a mom with an addiction in an abusive and violent households and lots of chaos. And, I needed help with, you know, abusive stepmoms there after that, you know. I've needed help. Needed a lot of help in my life. I don't know exactly what one, when I think about holding onto my heart, I think about, you know, a time, like I even think with my mom being gone for so long, you know, she'd left when I was 5, and then she came back into my life when I was like 27 and added me as a friend on Facebook without a word. You know, just here's this lady that's added me as a friend who's my mom and is now wanting to be in my life. And then I didn't know what to do with all of that, you know, and I think and then she was gone again.
Tell me about when she left. Do you remember that?
I remember the day that she left.
What was it like? Describe it.
Well, we were in the backyard playing with a ball with the kids across the street, and it was almost like a movie. Like it kicked the ball up the front yard, and all of a sudden it came rolling back, right? And we're like, what the heck? What the heck is that? And so we all ran to the front, and there was my mom with this other man and this kid, and they're in a car, and you know, my mom was like, come with us, and she was trying to take us, me and my brother at the time, and my sister, but she was too young she wasn't there playing in the yard. She says, come with me right now, I'll buy you all these toys, and the kid in the back seat had all these toys, and
you didn't know who those people were?
No, I had no idea. They were in a red Jimmy, you know? So, and then she was trying to get us to come with her and kind of bribing us with these toys, and we're like, no, we can't, Dad's at work, and we got a babysitter, and we didn't go, and then we never seen her again.
Wow.
Yeah. So then, you know, fast forward 20 years later, friend on Facebook, you know, and that was just as hurtful as I think the first let go, right? Because it was like, here she is, and here she's claiming that she wants to be, you know, this person in my life, and I was so skeptical but so relieved that she was there, but there's so much happening, and at the time I was just newly sober. I was 6 months sober, you know. I had no idea even about myself really at that point, and you know, here she was again, and then she just was gone again, you know. She never stayed again. So just like, it was like a wound on a wound, and insult on injury, whatever you would say. Like,
so when you were 5 and she left, like how long was it that you waited for her to come back, thinking, well, like, did you do that? You know, a 5-year-old would be like, well, she must be coming back.
if I said a 5, I meant 7.
7,
Yeah,
okay.
7. I think my whole life is like that. I think I'm still waiting for her to come back, you know?
Wow.
I think you do with your family. You long for your family.
Right.
You long for your mom, you know, every Christmas, every birthday, every Mother's Day, every fucking day, you know? And there's a lot of times in life where it's illuminated more than others, and days that are more painful than others, but it's it's a huge grief that I hold, and it shapes a lot of things in the way I interact with the world today.
Like,
you know? I feel like just I have a really hard time trusting really anybody, you know? I don't trust a lot of people. I feel like, you know, I just don't. And even when I want to, how hard I have to work at actually doing that, you know? It's like...
Do you think people know that about you?
I don't think people do. And I think that is another reason why I feel like this project would be good for me, because, you know, I want to, not that I want to be seen, but I want to discover parts of myself that I've just... It's so easy to go on the highlight reel and, you know, pretend to be okay, right? And wear the mask and do the things and have the job and have the, you know, whatever it is that you do that makes people think that you're okay, you know? But it's really what's happening right below the surface that really, to me, you know, when I think of other people and interact, that's the things I care about, right? And yeah, I don't think people would. I've carefully orchestrated a very good version of myself to probably show everyone else, right? And
How much is it bullshit?
I feel like I compartmentalize, right? Like I have like I'm a just sometimes I'm not very, I guess, congruent. Like I have, here's Jacquie at work, here's Jacquie in the gym, here's Jacquie and her family, here's Jacquie with her friends, here's Jacquie in
Like all
support
these
groups.
parts.
There's all these parts, and I've never known how to bring all those parts and just make them one, right?
So what is this part
This part,
on this
I
podcast?
think, is really just stretching for that, to really find a way to bring it all together, you know, all the things that have equated to be me, and this idea of who are we and who am I, you know, and just
All of
really
it.
exploring it, yeah, really getting down and dirty.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So what is it like sharing this story right now?
Well, right now, right now, it's just nerve-wracking. This is a very new experience. Feels very uncharted to me. You know, I'm kind of just blown away that we're sitting here doing it. So
Yeah.
right now it just feels, what was the question? Sorry.
Scary. What is it like to share your story?
Oh. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm sweating and I'm clammy, and you know, I've got a lot of fear about sharing things. You know, I don't ever want to hurt anybody. I've got fear around that, and I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to. That whole thing about getting in trouble, right? Like I don't want to offend anybody, and I think that probably comes from my role in the family of being the fixer, right? I'm just like I'll fix the problems, right? And I don't want to create them. You know, I'll do anything to not create the problems, right? So that,
What problems could your story create for others?
I guess it's that feeling of like, I guess it's that thing. Your family could do things and be a certain way. Like you can still love them, but you don't have to like all of it, right? And I guess just owning that regard, like that's true, and that it's still my experience. Like my experience is in this, my life. This is true for me, right? And it's my truth. And I guess I'm scared that my truth will hurt people, you know, close to me, maybe. And not knowing really how to, you know, do you not proceed because of that, or do you just push through and be who you are and say your truth despite how it might impact other people, right?
And when you've done that, what's it been like? When you've said what you need to say despite fears?
Freeing. Say it's generally quite freeing. You know, I don't want to live in denial. I don't want to pretend to be okay when I'm not. I don't want to go along to get along. I don't want to do the things that I'm supposed to do to please people. You know, or at least I want to start working at breaking away from that more.
Yeah. What was the question? Let's see. What beliefs have you had to break free from
Okay.
to hold on to yourself?
There's a real feeling of, I think, unworthiness, right? That I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, that I'm not worth it. Like I think a really big negative belief that I hold is people, I feel like in my life too, that it's just, I've been shown, or, okay, my belief would be people are easily distracted from loving me. You know, it doesn't take much for them to lose them. You know, I feel like there's just something so tempting that's greater than me that pulls people away from loving me. You know, I think I learned that, like drugs and alcohol, you know, and that's been true my whole life with not just my mom, but other family, right? So I just feel like that threat of something that's more tempting than, I don't know if tempting is the right word, but it's just like more powerful, or it's, I guess what I believe is that things are better to love than me, you know? And so I think that just kind of made me feel really unlovable and unworthy, and that no one's going to stay. And if I'm being honest, I mean, in the last 7 years, I've been able to get sober and maintain relationships, and I feel at least do my part to maintain good relationships. But I still find that to be somewhat true, you know? Like now I have just rocky, intimate relationships, and I can't get close to, you know, not that I truly know if I even want that, but I find them really hard, even if I'm trying to, you know, explore it. I have a really hard time in romantic relationships. I don't, I demand a lot, you know, I'm so scared, I think, that I need a lot when, yeah.
Is that part of, like, do you see that as the legacy of your mom driving off with whatever was better in that red Jimmy?
Yeah, well, that's definitely, I think even, you know, that was a monumental moment, and all the small subtle moments, you know, of saying, you know, I'm just going out for a pack of smokes and then not coming back for 3 weeks, and, you know, big hugs around the Christmas tree. Don't worry, it's going to get better. And it's the same thing, you know, and then she's not there. I mean, one time for me, it was, you know, I'm in the, here's the hold on to your heart moment for me. One afternoon, you know, 6, 7 years old, trying to find my mom wherever she might be. And my dad's, you know, all worked up, and he's going through his own motions, and yeah, we're tracking her down, which didn't feel abnormal, right? And usually we find her walking down the streets with her shoes off, or, you know, whatever. Just, you know, she'd be out with her friends or whatever. Who knows what she was doing, but we're tracking her down. We go to this bar, and my dad's like, stay in the car, yada yada. I haven't seen my mom in weeks. I must have known she's in there. So I just ran in there right after, right? And there she is, sitting with a bunch of men and drinking in the middle of the day. And we're crying, me and my brother, begging her to come home, you know, like just begging. And she just looks at us and she doesn't, you know, she doesn't come. And I think, like, that's what kind of made it clear that, yeah,
What did
it's
it make
easy
clear?
to get this, like, I don't know, I feel like, I guess I'm easy to get distracted from, or I think that's the belief, right? Like, I'm just not enough to come home to, or to love, or to stay with.
It's that classic, the child believes there's something wrong with them.
For sure. Yeah, I think I internalized all of that at a, you know, and then I didn't, yeah, I internalized a lot of that, I feel like. And there's so much more to that too, right? That I could talk for forever about, like, in regards to just all the subtle things that I feel like are my fault from my childhood, right? And yeah, I don't know that it ever got really progressively good, even after she left with the other women that were in my life. until I left home, right?
How many stepmoms did you have?
2 serious stepmoms.
And what were they like?
Abusive. Very.
Tell an example.
Well, the first one was really physically abusive, but not to me.
To who?
A sibling.
Mm-hmm. It's abusive when you have to watch that.
And I mean, I would say the most traumatic feelings of helplessness and just like desperation come from watching someone else be abused. And the the want for me then to have a mom was so strong that I became abusive, you know, to that same sibling, because I just thought, like, fuck, if you don't fucking stop this, then she's gonna leave.
Right.
You
And
know, and I
the
can't
ship
lose
kind of
her.
rolls downhill.
Yeah.
You're doing what you were taught to do as a
And
child.
it wasn't, I think, at that point encouraged, right? Which was just sick and has left me with I mean, it's obviously left me with quite a bit of pain, and I have to do a lot of work around that and have done, but I mean, I don't think there'll ever be a time in my life where I think about that and don't feel just such sadness and to just like, I think that would be, you know, I hate the word trauma. Like, I hate when it's like trauma, but I feel like that could be trauma for me. So I know you're laughing because you're like
maybe.
I know. Well, we should talk about our relationship a little bit too in a bit about
Okay.
I just think of you saying when I first met you, you were like, "Okay, Jackie, you don't walk for help, you run." I'm like, "It's not actually that bad."
I think I said, "Run, don't walk to therapy."
Yeah. And I did, and that
You
was
did,
really
yeah.
good. And I found a lot of healing through that. And
So it's not hard to trace this feeling your critic says you're in trouble, this is going to go bad, you're going to get ripped apart. It's not hard to trace that back to its origins of what happened to you as a little girl that set you up to be a persecutor
yeah,
and persecute yourself. Like you're guilty.
guilty. Yep.
Can you ever imagine your life without that?
Guilt.
Right.
Ugh. As I'd be getting less guilty, so I'm getting glimpses of it. I do wonder what that. I mean, it does feel so foreign. I don't really know how to even
Fathom it.
Yeah. Shame and guilt.
So if someone said to you, what's the impact of being left by your mother? What would you say?
Well, I just would kind of maybe take a look at. I mean, I don't even know how to sum that up into. There's so many layers. I think when it's your mom and your family of origin, when you're dealing with those people in your life, when I think about it, I mean, how hasn't it impacted my life? You know, what hasn't it fucking put a toxic spell on in ways, you know? And I guess the impact, there's all the negative and all the shame and the guilt and the hurt and the grief and the loss, but then there's like also all the healing and the humility and like the asking for help. And you know, you don't have, there's nothing, I guess, that I really want to take from my family of origin. There's nothing there that I really want to carry on, so it is starting my own life and getting the choice that I get to do that. I get to create what I want because I don't want that, and I don't want what I had, and I know that. So the impact is, I think I have really, I'm stretching and reaching for something so much bigger and better than what I had, you know, and maybe even just this project will illuminate some of that about, you know, where I want to go, who I am, and what I'm choosing today, as opposed to all the things that were thrown my way, you know. And I hate feeling like poor me, my life's so hard. And I think that's maybe the hard parts about even talking on this is like, you know, I hate being the victim. I hate being weak. I hate that vulnerability piece. Like, it's just easier to, like, you know, keep together.
What ended up happening that you needed to, like when you say I wanted something different,
Yeah.
like how bad did it get for you?
Let's say it got pretty bad. Just kidding, not that bad. No, it did.
So tell a story about, you know, a dark time or when you knew, okay, this is not the way I imagined things working out.
I guess I would say my rock bottom with alcohol, and just realizing what a hollow shell I had become, and how hard I was trying to numb every emotion that I had, and how I could not handle anything. And I couldn't handle my feelings or just the numbing. And I hit my rock bottom. And I think that's was the way into the new way of thinking and healing and growing that I'm really grateful for. That would have been the turning point. That, I guess that was, you know, at that point, it wasn't what everyone had done to me that I needed help with, you know, it was what I was doing to myself, you know, and I had to, that actual humility, you know, of being like, no, like, you either get bitter or you get better. And like, that was the choice at hand, right? And I could have stuck it out and kept doing what I was doing and blamed everyone around me, and it's all I've known, and they're worse off than I am, and, you know, and done that. But I just thought, no.
So talk about learning to ask for help.
It's still so hard. Really. Truly. I don't ask for it near enough. I still need way more than I admit. And I struggle in silence, you know? And another reason why I think I want this project, because I do need help. I need help, and this will, I feel, in ways help me, right? So I have to create my own help sometimes. But asking for help, it's hard.
So has it ever brought, does it ever bring something good?
It does. Absolutely. It absolutely brings something good. I mean, I'd say most of the good things in my life have come from asking for help, you know, and being humble enough to take it or ask for it.
So
Or
what does it look like? Like, give an
for asking for
example.
help.
When you've
Asking you. I've asked you for help, you know? And
what was the hardest?
oh, the hardest time I've asked you for help? I was not doing well one summer. And this was years
The
into
whole
recovery.
summer?
The whole summer. It's probably true. I was having a rough go, and I was in a romantic relationship that had fallen apart, and I was, you know, I was not doing very well. And I remember just crying and sobbing, and I didn't know what to do. Like, it was one of those days where I'm just like totally pacing around the house, and I am not functioning well. I would say a breakdown.
In the old days, we called it nervous breakdown.
Yes, having one of those.
Yes.
But I was riddled with shame and guilt about why did I end up here, and how did this happen again, and I've done this before, and why am, that whole story about I should do better. I know
better.
Yeah, I'm going to be in trouble for getting myself here again,
Oh, there's that old trouble.
Yeah, but absolutely desperate to, not go back drinking, not, to do it, to move through it in some way. And I called you, and you came over and you gave me hypnosis.
Did I?
And I slept like a baby.
Aw.
I slept like a baby, and I felt so safe, and I felt so secure, even though it's so scary to be that close with someone. And I know I was like, even when it was happening and I know I needed it, I was like so scared of it. And we were laying in my bed, and you were being a mom to me. I felt, you were really there for me, and I didn't really know how to receive it. Like, despite wanting it so bad, but like, now you ask me the question, and it's the thing that comes to mind. So, that really safe, secure, like, there is a way out of this, and you just have to ask for help. Even when it's so uncomfortable, and even if you are wrong, or even if you have guilt or shame, it's okay to reach out and say, like, I'm not doing good and I need help.
What are some practical things that you do that keep you grounded, get you back into yourself?
Yeah, I would say a big one for me over the last few years has definitely been exercise. Who would have thought? Yeah, just giving, working out has just been a great way for me to, like, I feel like I hold so much in my body, like tension and stress, trauma, all the stuff is in my body, right? So that has given me a really good outlet to, get it out. And then it's just brought amongst, other things too, like friendships and a sense of community in that world, which has felt really good. Support groups have been great. Community here of support through groups like that. And staying sober has been number one, I would say. Art, and you kind of taught me that. And I mean, I've always felt like kind of a creative person, but you got me onto art journaling when I got sober, and that's been a lifesaver. And, getting outside, getting fresh air. There's a lot now. My life is really full with really good things, whereas, before when I got sober and someone would be like, oh, what do you do for fun? And it would be like, I hate the word fun. I don't know what it means to have fun. I don't know what I do. Like, I didn't feel like I had any hobbies or interests. And now, I feel like there's not enough time in a day to do the things I want to do. Right? So,
do you think you had fun as a kid?
I have some fond childhood memories with my friend Marley, who I want to be on this podcast one day. But yeah, I do have some fond memories as a kid with her. And aside from that, no. Just kidding. Seldom.
Okay.
Honestly, I'd say pretty seldom.
Seldom, yeah.
Seldom fond memories from childhood. Honestly, seldom until probably about 16 when I left home. Then I started, kind of having a little bit more of an ease to my life for a bit, and then I became a full-fledged alkie. So didn't last long, but then getting sober again at 26, I started to...
It's young.
Yeah, 26, and started to kind of have some more fond memories again. So...
When you look back on everything, what do you think sort of made you the most resilient? Like, got you through where you have been able to break free of a lot of this?
What about myself, or like the situations?
Whatever. Like if it hadn't been for, I probably couldn't have got here.
Here?
Sober, living a life that you enjoy, having fun.
I guess the kind of cliche, like if it wasn't for all the bad, and there was a lot of bad, you know, I wouldn't have found the good. You know, I think it definitely pushed me to a place of like really having to get to the darkness. Like I really had to see a lot of darkness before I could see the light, right? And so abusive woman, complicated relationships, you know, losing people, you know, just really testing out those dark waters and really putting myself through the ringer, putting other people through the ringer. If it wasn't for all that,
Like actually, the darkness is the thing that motivated you.
absolutely, absolutely.
What's the hardest thing you've gone through in sobriety?
Romantic relationships. I'd say all of them so far. And you know, there's
All
been
500.
no, I'd say trying to get close to people because I think I really want it now, and still just feeling like I don't know how. So I mean, I wouldn't say it's the relationships or it's the guys or whatever. I would just say it's this piece of like either wanting to get close to people and not being able to, and just still working through that every day and keep going back to it and keep trying it and learning something new every time, but just like feeling almost like I'm not cut out for it. You know, that's the belief I have. Like I'm not cut out to have these relationships, even though I'm longing for them.
And do you see that as just true, or do you know that's your critic?
I'm not sure today.
Like it just feels true.
Sort of, for sure. It doesn't feel not true. So whatever that
Evidence suggests.
Yeah. You know, I still am struggling with feeling hard to love and, you know. Yeah. But I do think it's the dark stuff in my past. It's the hurt and the grief and the pain and that has given me that motivation to keep pushing forward, right? Because I just am not, I don't want to go down, you know, like I was saying before, like I had seen, like I don't want what I had.
Right.
So just doing anything, I think, at this point, to push through that.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes I push too hard now. You know, some people say don't take on more than you could, and it's like I don't know if you could stop me, and I don't know if even that's fully.
What's sitting still like for you?
Terrible. Can't do it. I don't know how to do it. You know, if I do it, I'm like very impressed, and like I'm like, you know, it's noteworthy when I can sit down and watch a movie or, you know, sit in the bath and relax. Like I am constantly quite anxious. I'm anxiously driven to do things. You know, I'm not just driven like everyone thinks. I'm anxious, and I'm.
You got to keep on the move. Like can't hit a moving target.
No, which is great, right? And you do get lots accomplished in I think your days and maybe in your life and.
Is there a downside?
Whatever. Yeah, for me, it would probably just an uncomfortability, like of just like not knowing how to be, you know, just being and being okay with it and not feeling like I need to keep it going. Like I just, you know, to be okay. I just, that feeling of gotta keep this going, gotta keep something going, gotta, you know, to be all right. And like that feels true right now. And I mean, everything I think is kind of situational, right? But
So you'd want people to know what about you that they probably don't know?
I'm not ready. Don't get too close. I guess that, what do I want you to know about me?
Or what do you wish people understood about you?
Maybe that it's, I don't know. I don't know. What do I wish? Help
Beats
me.
me.
I'm not really sure what I wish they knew. I don't know.
Don't know. That's okay. Have you ever hurt someone you love?
Yes,
We covered that.
in big ways.
And what's been your greatest triumph?
Just taking steps forward to create a different life than the one I knew, and breaking that mold and breaking, I'd say, family cycles and addiction cycles and breaking cycles has been the biggest triumph. And doing something different than I knew. Going another direction despite that like power and that pull to stay stuck in that darkness, And I think the biggest triumph in that too is actually asking for help, really asking for it, and
Trusting
it's
it.
brought me here. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Felt very surreal to be sharing so deeply with you, and yeah, I'm excited about what's to come for the project and the community that wants to be involved. If you are interested in sharing parts of your story or yourself on a podcast such as this, you can contact us here at www.holdontoyourheartproject.com. You can find us on Instagram or YouTube at Hold On To Your Heart Project, and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.